Are you a woman on YouTube looking for financial freedom and what it takes to actually achieve it? Well, I am super passionate about making sure more women have access to this information. And in today's video, I'm going to break down Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, but also what you can actually do to start implementing it. So when I first thought about doing this video, because I've been talking about the cash flow quadrant with my students for a while, we were doing some research, my team and I, and we realized that if you search YouTube or probably Google as well, one owns the other, for cash flow quadrant, almost every single video that comes up is by a man. So I'm pretty passionate about making sure that more women have access to this information, because women actually have a longer life expectancy, but also are kind of known to have less financial literacy. Why? Because it's only men making these videos right now. So I'm very passionate about talking to women. So if you're a dude, we love that you're here. If you were a woman, my name is Lauren Golden. My company is called The Free Mama. I am the founder of the Free Mama movement. So we've got a Facebook group. You can come hang out with other women who also have a goal of financial freedom and improving their financial literacy and using self-employment, entrepreneurship, and business ownership in order to get there. And so that's actually what we're going to break down in today's video as I talk through Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. So pay attention to where you currently are in the quadrant. There's no good or bad, right or wrong. It's just facts about where you are, but also hopefully before this video is done, you know what the next right step is for you. And who knows, maybe I can actually be the person to help you take that next step. So before we actually dive into the different phases of the quadrant itself, let's start by defining what financial freedom actually means to you. It's really important because not everybody has the exact same goals or needs. One of the first things I actually teach my students is something called wants, needs, haves. There is a hierarchy to going after the things that we want to pursue in life. If you don't know how you're going to pay rent or how you're going to find your next meal, it's very difficult to start thinking about pursuing your lifelong dreams. But the safer we feel, the more of these necessities we know are taken care of, the easier it is for us to sort of expand and grow. So when we talk about financial freedom, it's really important to actually define what that is. You know, some people are at a place where they're thinking about, paying off all their debt. And for me, a few years ago, that's where I was. My husband and I had over 6 figures of debt. And that was the financial goal. But the truth is, for us, that was not actually financial freedom. That was just the first step. When I think about what financial freedom is for me, it's a matter of buying back my time. It's a matter of giving myself the choices to not have to work and to be able to run my business because I want to, not because I have to keep it going, because I have to continue to pay for food and my mortgage and whatever. So when I think about financial freedom, I know how much I want my family to live off of comfortably. And for me, that magic number is $10,000. $10,000 a month of passive income. We're going to take a sidebar here in just a second on passive income and what it is and what it isn't. But for me, true financial freedom comes when I can create $10,000 monthly cash flow, passive income. So outside of my businesses. But how do we get there? Well, that's what we'll talk about here in today's video. It takes some time and it takes some money to invest to be able to generate that passive income. Okay, here's your sidebar. I have been so triggered lately online when I see business coaches and course creators selling other people this idea of passive income when talking about digital products, e-learning, and kind of this rise of these internet businesses. Now, I have one. I love it. It's changed my life, and I'm going to explain how it works in the cash flow quadrant today. But what I want to tell you is that it is not passive income. And any coach that you see selling a course, like how to build a course as passive income, you need to run away, because while it does definitely start to separate your time from money, you will still continue to be working for that output. Meaning if you stop working, you stop marketing, you stop driving traffic, you stop making sales, that income is not actually going to keep coming in. True passive income, you get to passively sit back, let your investment dollars work for you. So again, phase one, define what financial freedom looks like for you. What do you need to live off of? And how can we create this through actual cash flow that is not attached to your job or your business? And just know that there's a lot of people using passive income incorrectly, and it makes me really mad. And you should not listen to those people because they are scamming you. At best, it is semi-passive income, but really it's just creating a one-to-many business model that you create something once and you sell it over and over again. It's productized information. It's fantastic. I can teach you how to do that as well, but it is not true passive income. So the question remains, if I want to be financially free and I know what that dollar amount is, Lauren, how do I get to a point where I'm like earning this off of my investments? And that's where Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow Quadrant comes in. And like I said, you can find a lot of videos about this on the internet, a lot of people walking you through the process, including the Rich Dad channel. And there's really, really good information, but it was startling to me how few women were actually talking about how this works. So we start with the E, S, B, and I. And what Mr. Kiyosaki talks about, we've got E, the employee. Most of us start here. E, the employee, you have a job. You have a manager, you have a boss, you get a paycheck, your taxes are taken out of it. You are actually taxed at a pretty high level here compared to the other quadrants because it just is. You don't have a lot of control. You don't have a lot of deductions. You just qualify for a certain amount. Maybe you've got kids, maybe you file jointly, but like, it's pretty simple at this level, and you are spending a lot of money on the government, but you don't even know it sometimes because you don't see it. It doesn't come home in your paycheck. You have a job, okay? You get fired from the job or you leave the job, you lose the income. That's the employee. So there's the least amount of freedom here. I would say there's also the one of the highest tax liabilities over here. The next quadrant that we move to is self-employed. So when you are self-employed, you give yourself a job. So employee, someone gave you a job. Self-employed, you gave yourself a job. This is actually the first thing that I teach people how to do. So the Free Mama movement, I have an entire course. I have a coaching program called the Free Mama Squad, and I walk you through A to Z, everything you need to know, legalities about how to get set up, how to find clients, what taxes look like as you move from E to S. At this point, we can start to actually take some deductions and benefit as being self-employed business owner. But like I said, I have this framework that walks you through this, but still at this level, when you are a freelancer, which is what I teach primarily on this channel, is how to go from here to here as a freelancer, you basically give yourself a job. So rather than being a W-2, you are probably going to be a W-9. You're still providing work. You're still providing a service to other people. You just call them clients instead of your boss. There are definitely emotional dynamics and control dynamics that change here. Like legally, when you are self-employed, the person you've got a job with, even though you gave yourself a job, they can't tell you exactly how to do your job like they can when you're an employee. They can't tell you exactly what time to be working like when you're an employee. So this is why I'm really passionate about this first step, especially for moms who want more control and more flexibility and more balance in their lives, because it gives you the ability to decide who you work with, the type of work you do, the hours in which you work them, plus you get to set your own rates when you're self-employed. So this is a huge step that requires you to catch up with your mindset. Like we've got to ditch the employee mindset and start to think like a business owner. But still, everything on this side of the cash flow quadrant, you're pretty much going to get, I don't want to say hosed on taxes, but it can certainly feel that way. You're going to pay a lot in taxes when you're in this side. And the problem with that is that you've got less control. You will feel like you have less financial freedom for sure. Why? Because you either have a job or you gave yourself a job. If either of those, if you lose your clients or you get fired, you have no more income. You have no money coming to you. So that's why it's really important when we talk about financial freedom, we have to learn how to get on this side of the quadrant so that we can experience what that freedom looks like. So that brings us to, we'll go all the way around so I don't color through my gorgeous drawing here. But that brings us to the B quadrant. The B quadrant stands for business owner. So here you're a business owner. Business owners have a system that do a job. So you are getting out of being the day-to-day service provider, that one-to-one person doing the work as a contractor, a W-9, and you now have a system. So maybe you have employees, maybe you have contractors or subcontractors who do the work for you. You've certainly integrated some sort of systems and automation, maybe using software. So to go from here to here, just like going from employee to self-employed, takes some mindset shifts about being, you have to be disciplined. You don't have someone telling you what to do all the time. In fact, that's the freedom that comes with it. The problem is a lot of us have been told what to do since we were really little. To go from self-employed to business owner takes another really big mindset shift. And that's starting to separate yourself from the work that you're doing. That's starting to act like a CEO and learning to be a better leader, learning to invest in things. This is really hard for some of my students. I actually have a program called Freedom Founders that takes people from self-employed to business owner. I actually have a course curriculum called Movement Maker Accelerator that will also teach you how to do this. But this requires you to think differently. It requires you to think like a CEO. It requires you to not be afraid of investing in yourself. I would say every time we step through the cash flow quadrant to a new square, it's really important to think differently, because if we keep thinking the same, we're going to stay exactly where we are. So at this level, you're investing in team, systems, software, automations, so that the job that the systems and team are performing, that's where your revenue comes from. What's really beautiful about moving to this side of the quadrant is that, if you look at the tax code, which I do not have a copy of, but I have very trusted advisors that I work with that are very well versed in the tax code. It's a really thick document. Like, it is a book. And the first couple pages are basically like, y'all gonna pay taxes. And that's what that looks like. The whole rest of the book is written for people on this side. There's a lot of tax benefits to having and creating jobs. There are a lot more things that you can write off and take deductions for when you are a business owner. And it matters. It's, there's a video on this channel where you can learn about the difference between being a sole proprietor and an LLC. But beyond that, there's also your tax filing status. So when I moved from self-employed to business owner, it was also really important that I got set up as an S Corp, so that I could both become an employee of my business, but also the way that you pay yourself matters as a business owner in order to maximize the deductions that you take. Some things that we hear about that are all on this side that is not by accident. The media wants us to be mad at wealthy people, but we'll hear about celebrities or politicians and whether they're disclosing their tax documents or not. We hear about how they're paying little to no tax and we get mad about it. But the problem is that anger is a result of our lack of financial literacy. The entire tax code is written to be able to claim deductions over here. And this is where it gets it lights on fire. Okay. So again, you have a job, you gave yourself a job, you gave your systems and your team a job. The last one stands for investor. And this is basically, and I'm quoting my really good friend, Kiana, but this is when your money makes babies. This is when you give your money a job. Your money's job is to make more money. And in this investor, it could be real estate. It could be a lot of different things that you can invest in. That's not really the point of this video, but as you invest in things, if you follow the tax code, there are also really amazing benefits that you can reach here. And if you read any of Robert Kiyosaki's books, these are kind of some of the things he talks about. There's obviously Cashflow Quadrant, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. One of my favorites is he worked on with his CPA called Tax-Free Wealth. And it's insane. It tells you all of these benefits on this side that you can take. Recently, I hired my 10-year-old daughter. I put her on payroll. I can claim up to $12,000 in tax write-offs that she doesn't have to pay taxes on. And I can start her with a Roth IRA at 10 years old by being a business owner and being on this side and setting up these systems appropriately. Now we get down to the I category and we're investing. We have amortization, depreciation, appreciation, and all of these things work into this formula to help offset our taxes. And so I really suggest continuing to learn more about financial literacy, working with a CPA, some sort of advisor who's going to be able to help walk you through this. But what's really, really powerful, and why I'm so obsessed with this, especially for women, because again, we have a longer life expectancy. A lot of women are used to relying on their spouse for this, but it is so important that you are able to understand this on your own, is when we go through this as a business owner, when we start freelancing and we evolve into a business owner, this is making us money that we can then Well, first of all, our business is making us money. Because we're a business owner, we can reduce our tax liability by offsetting with deductions. We take our profits as a business owner and we have more money to invest that will then continue our money makes babies, or we give our money a job when we invest. So if financial freedom is buying time, it's owning your time. And like I said, in my example, my goal is to have enough investments in real estate that produce a cash flow of $10,000 a month. Now, I have a set plan that I'm working on to get there. I'm not there yet. I'll just be honest with you. But again, I'm using revenue produced from my business. I'm investing it in these properties. I'm claiming all of these tax benefits that are offsetting what I owe the government, because the whole purpose of the tax code is the government is telling people how they want you to spend your money, which people over here tend to not be as literate about and not as capable to do if they don't have this information. So that is how I'm doing it. That's my plan. I'm using my business as the vehicle. So that is my freedom business vehicle model framework, is through courses and coaching and being a service provider and having a membership and all of these different things that I do. That's producing revenue that I then invest down here that will then produce true passive income, regular cash flow to me and my family, so that if I ever wanted to step back from my business, sell my business, take a month off, take a year off, I would be able to do that. And I would actually be experiencing true financial freedom. So that's how we use the cash flow quadrant. Hopefully that explanation was helpful to you. Wherever you are, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And if you need any help going from employee to self-employed, or making that shift from self-employed to true business owner, I would love to support you with that. So we've got a couple links down below, depending on which letter is identifying most with you right now. But just remember, what got you here won't get you there. It's a different strategy to work our way through, build true wealth. What is really cool about when we invest is that we can create true generational wealth that will actually last for a legacy for generations to come. So pretty exciting stuff. Okay, I would love to be the person to help you move through the cash flow quadrant if it works out for where you are at. If you are ready to go from employee to self-employed, I have a free 60-minute training that will tell you exactly what you need to do to follow my own freedom framework that took me and has taken over 5,000 other women from employed to self-employed. Again, this is how you can control your time, you can make more money, and you will have more freedom over your lifestyle on an everyday basis. Once you've got money generated here, you know the type of service provider you are, you understand sales and marketing, and you're learning some of these basic things, then it is time to actually grow into a business that will become scalable, where you will adapt automation and systems and possibly even team and outsourcing to get a business that is scaling your income so that you are ready to go to that I category. So if that is you, if you are already working as a freelancer or service provider, you are ready to become a full-fledged business owner, you need to apply for the Freedom Founder Society. You can start that process by actually watching a free 3-part training where I'm going to go through some of this stuff in a little more detail. Plus, I'm going to explain to you the vehicle that I use here in the business category and exactly what the behind the scenes of my business looks like and how I'm able to generate 7 figures a year, not passively, but only working 4 hours a day, which to me is still pretty impressive. So that is what fuels my investment revenue. And I would like to teach you how to do the same. You can find the link for both of those down below. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure you come hang out with us inside the Free Mama Movement Facebook group. I answer every single post I get tagged in. So if you have any questions about this process, about freelancing, about being a virtual business owner, or if you would just like to celebrate with me that more women are actually having this conversation and taking their own financial freedom into their own hands, please make sure you request to join and tag me so that we can have a conversation. If you found this helpful, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. I've got new videos coming up for you each and every Tuesday. So I'll see you here next week. Hi, my name is Lauren Golden, and I've restarted this video 3 times because my dog keeps walking in. King! Internet. King! Oh my gosh. One moment. King! Seriously though, now I forgot what I was going to say. There's one more word. Dang it. Oh gosh, I can't say that word. Now, okay, I'm going to back up. That's like all the outtakes. Okay, perfect.